Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul Surin. I work for a company called Wienerberger. I'm head in built environment. I'm also vice chair of BIM Forum 2. And in sort of next 9 minutes and 30 seconds, I'll tell you a bit more about our innovation, which is called E4 Housing Concept. It's a concept which we've been developing the last 2 years, and what we wanted to achieve is to embrace the innovation within, obviously, construction, and to have a look and come up with a sustainable and affordable and obviously housing concept and fit for the future. So looking at the whole life cycle, looking at using the digital information, using BIM and embracing the BIM within the housing. So what is E4 House Concept? Well, it's a concept. The matrix is based around 4 E's, not a surprise, around economy, environment, energy, and emotion. So what we did, it was not just us, it was 2 years ago with Arab. We looked at to obviously design a house concept which is affordable to construct, buy, and live in. There's no point designing a housing concept which you can't afford and buy and to live in. We obviously wanted to have it a low impact on environment, and also obviously low energy usage, because 2 years ago it was all talk about code, about low energy, carbon reductions, and also the emotion, a house you want to live in, so embracing the space, looking at the daylighting factors increasing, and bringing in the environment into the house. Part of the journey, what we wanted to do is to create a technical manual. So we created a technical manual, which we initially called it Golden Rules. In that manual, about a year ago, we started looking at BIM and how we can use BIM and the management part of the process and the information process and the data which we can gather obviously out of a housing template. So we tried to embed the documentation, the past documentation, the way of managing the process from design up to the construction and also the handover and then the management of the asset. So we embedded that into a sort of a design guide. So we didn't do it on our own. We've been working for last about 12 months with about 20 manufacturers, and we created, was last year this time, Home for Life Consortium. So we worked with companies like Lightcast, Idle Standard, obviously Knauf, Acco, because obviously they are part of the building envelope, which they can obviously help us to push the boundaries and obviously embrace the innovation. And what we focused on obviously also is the I in the BIM, the critical information for us for the housing, because I believe when we buy a car, we get more information from a car than we get from a house. We get part of the documents, which are usually just some sort of documents of, you get the boiler, usually you get boiler information about all sorts of boilers and you have to find your one. So we really wanted to focus on the handover, on the asset, collating the asset information, and obviously on Kobe. So the important bit which Daniel mentioned is the information, how we can get the PDFs, the usual way, handover manuals into a digital data. So to create an idea, and I'll show you a video later, is create an app which would talk to the end user, which would say, look, my boiler is up for renewal, my pump is slowing down, possibly need to be replaced. And then obviously bringing in the supply chain, looking at like, where can I buy the pump, what are the quotes within the area. So kind of bringing all these trades, all the stakeholders into the house concept. We obviously also, we've been developing with Business Collaborator, been developing common data environment. So we want all the stakeholders to work obviously collaboratively around one model, working all the stakeholders participating throughout the design process. So we have now up and running a common data environment for our E4. And what it looks like, so we have this is a house at the Innovation Park at BRE. So we have a physical and digital information. So we can start interrogating the model of the house. We can start looking at like the hidden assets. So for FM asset managers, it's a great tool to find out where the trusses are, where things like ducting for MVHR is, where the issues around the lighting, around the wiring, plumbing. So that can be looked at. There is also a great way for the site guys to actually compare the physical with the digital. So they can take physically a picture, upload it through common data environment, and client can see it, oh yeah, that's what I wanted. So the client will likely get what they want on time and on budget. You can then start, obviously, understand the structure. At the design process, it's critical to understand where the overlaps are, where the issues are, what trusses, are we using the right trusses. Understand the components as well. So I think that is a key, again, for all asset managers, to understand what the components are. I mean, you can then start interrogating, is that door fit for the purpose? Looking at the information, using it like Google to search, well, what is that laptop? Trying to find the information where the laptop was purchased from, what is the life cycle cost of the laptop. Then looking at things like doing checks before constructions, so we purposely put that in there. So you look in, that probably can't be done. That would be architectural model. They would position a projector and downlights, and obviously they would clash with floor trusses. So you can then look at the potential clashes, and you can unclick them and try to find out, well, that is the clash. So obviously we need to go back to the architect, or we need to move the downlights, because obviously this wouldn't fit. And the beauty is it does it automatically as soon as you obviously collaborate, and that's the point, that's the innovation. We're trying to embrace that, the collaboration, and obviously the new way of working, looking at using the digital data. The next stage is looking at the power of the place, where the house is positioned. So this is just a bit of where the house sits, because if it's a model, digital model, it sits nowhere in a digital world. So we're looking at using what's called a geobeam. So position it in a real area where we can look at like elevations, housing, where we can look at crime data, surrounding building views. So these things can be used because these are publicly available, like from Ordnance Survey, from Land Registry. You can download this data. You can look at these blue dots are commercial buildings. So you can then start making decisions before you even go to planning. Would that house suits there? Can I sell it? Because if it's surrounded with commercial buildings, I will unlikely get a planning. You can then start looking at wider area. You can then look at flooding. You can start building up flooding data. These are you can then bring it. Well, these are all residential. So I would likely probably position my housing within the residential area. If I know there is a river, I won't position it there. So the power of the data is critical. And the more you likely get, hopefully, is the as-built model. So you would get your sets of drawings, and we, again, one of the other partners we've been working with Ecobuild, and Nick will talk about it later, is collation of the data throughout the construction process to make sure what is designed is as built, and then the power of having a rich data at the end throughout the handover is phenomenal. And then what you can do is, and I'm not sure if it's going to work, won't have to press it. When you have all the data, what you can do is obviously what we did. We have been in touch with a gaming company, and obviously you can start powering the data into a 3D reality. So you can then have a obviously app selector and start connecting BIM data with the data behind it, and kind of transfer it into this kind of sort of stuff, which is great for planners. It's great for visualization. It's not the main part of BIM. It's probably only 30%, but it works well at certain stages of a project. So you can obviously have it then. The idea is we will have it with an E4 concept. Every homeowner or every obviously asset manager will have this app. So they can then even walk into the house. Things like, the beauty of that is if they need to replace something, they will likely to get the right part at the first time for the first visit. So again, bringing down the cost of the FM of the maintenance. So this is just basically a video overview with Selector. Great, again, tool. You can specify your house, print out your specification. You can print out your bill of quantities. You can then just attach to it pricing based on your price list or your distributors list. Or you can, as a self-builder, you can take it to your local merchants, and they will know exactly what you need to build that house and that specification. And that's it.
Thank you very much, Paul. Round of applause, Paul. Again, it's delivered under budget there, delivered under budget, fantastic. Now, Paul, what is the platform you're using? A business collaborator platform for this?
We're using Business Collaborator for common data environment, and we work with Nick June from Cobuild to obviously for updating the manufacturing data.
But any modeling system can be brought into that. I mean, does it have to be a bespoke modeling system? Are you using
No. This is just the house. We base the E4 concept around it. It's a concept which, against that concept, you can design any house. Obviously, if you follow the rules, the idea is you will likely get as built and as designed and what you want.
Do you think that owners are? I mean, in a world of you switch your iPhone on and you don't need an instruction manual. Do you think in that kind of environment we need to have this level of owners need this level of instruction for their houses?
Well, I believe so, because again, I compare it with the car industry. What you get from your car, the information, automated information you get from your car, you should get that from your house. The investment is one of the biggest investments in our lives, is to purchase a house. And the information we get more from our dishwasher.
Final question for me. Most houses in the UK are already built. Is this retrofittable?
Well, what we're hoping is, what is possible again, is R&D are going on, is where you can scan existing buildings. And it's a great way, again, if you can scan a building, you can transfer that as data, you can model the data, what the cost of the house would be in 20 years, and apply retrofit, and then compare the data, and it can work really well for ROIs.
Paul, thank you very much indeed. It's certainly very interesting, and I think it must be embraced for the future, because we do hear an awful lot of stories about people who just simply don't realise if they open their window in a modern house, it completely screws the entire building system up. So thanks very much for giving us a view of that.